friend. What did you do this morning? What is the weather like in your neck of the woods? Well, this morning here on my farm, it was a beautiful spring morning. Cool, but beautiful. The birds were out singing and the sun is out. Just beautiful. But just like a typical day on the farm, had to do some work. So one of the main projects I had to do this morning was move our chickens and the ducks. And for those of you who don't know, we don't have pasture here on our farm. We don't have pasture areas to grow our chickens and ducks and raise them. But we raise them in the forest, in the woods. They're like jungle chickens. So, and the area that we have them in is a food forest area in the works. We already have persimmon trees there. But over the years, through neglect and just no one really managing these areas, things are just overgrown. There's too many trees in. We have to actually cull some of the trees. But the chickens and ducks are helping us reclaim and recapture this area so that way we can have it as a productive food forest area. And they do a great job at that. But here recently we've had them in this one area that we've pretty much cleared out and we've added mulch in there. But we want to gradually move them in different phases around this area so that way we can totally have it under control the way that we want. So this morning I was moving them over just a little bit over to the next area that we're trying to reclaim and let them go ahead and start clearing out some of the unwanted plants and poison ivy, and had to do that. And since we're in the woods, or since they're in the woods and with the trees, I have to weave the electrified fencing around different trees and really have to think about how I have to do it. So I started off with moving one side of the fence, shifting it over, and then weaving it through the trees since there's trees in this area. And then the other side, I opened it up into some new area where there's poison ivy growing and had to work it in through the poison ivy and around it so they can get that poison ivy down. And I really hope they do, because poison ivy to me is like kryptonite to Superman. It brings me down. So I did that, and then the back side I extended to where there's been some block there for years, some brick and block, and we'll eventually move those out at some point, but at least the chickens can go ahead and knock down those plants and help us continue to shift them and move them around this food forest area. So after I had them moved, they were enjoying it and they were scratching around and just working and finding the bugs and the various things that they find and eating the different plants that are there. So they were happy. I was happy that they're moved over and can start working on this area. And then after that, I went ahead and began collecting some chicken poop, some manure. Look at here, this one's like a chicken poop burger. Just kidding. I bet you're wondering, why in the world is he collecting chicken poop? Well, we use the chicken poop, the manure, in a number of different ways. One of the ways that we use it, and we've been using it this way for some time now, is in the area of the food forest. Their manure adds nitrogen primarily, but also phosphorus and potassium to the soil and just really gives plants what they need to grow. It's fertilizer. And in times past, I have used the manure in compost piles, and they work excellent for building up high quality compost. And I haven't been able to make compost with chicken poop for some time now, and I have been really eager to get back to making compost pile and using the chicken manure. And here this past week, I have been setting up a composting system, compost bins, so that way I can actually begin making our own compost once again. And I'm super pumped up about that. Most people make their compost bins out of pallets, and in the past I have done that too. However, I just found that just over time and use, they just don't hold up really well. So this time I wanted to go with making ours out of block. We have a lot of resources for getting block around the farm, so we definitely wanted to make sure we use that. And I also wanted to use this bin system as a fence, as a barrier for keeping the animals that we don't want coming into the greenhouse and into the main market garden area. So these compost bins will work for compost, and they will act as a fence, as a barrier. So I got started. But as with most projects, I thought, oh man, I'll have this project knocked out in no time. I can get it done before lunch. But as you'll see, that was not the case. So I got started laying out my line for where I was going to lay the block for the compost bins. And Ben laid out the block for me that I was going to use to start the first course to make it easier for me so I didn't have to go back and forth and back and forth. After that, started using the mattock to go ahead and start pulling away some dirt so that way we could level out the ground, so that way our block would be level. And as I placed each block, I used the level to make sure that the block is level, both this way and this way, because you don't want it to be out of level this way, nor do you want it to be out of level this way, or you're just having your blocks, they're just falling over. So you want your block to be level all around. And at this point, I had Ben go work on some other tasks on the farm while I continued on by myself. And since it was a lot of block to move, on top of having to dig out, I knew I was going to get some exercise in. So it was muscle time. And one of my favorite things about homesteading and working on a farm together as a family is actually working on projects together, being side by side with my children. And Michael was right beside me again, helping me shovel and move some dirt around. Where'd my hammer go? You know where it is? Help me find it. Let's dig. Did I cover it up? You dig and find it? Oh, there it is. Found it. After I laid the first course of block, I began laying the second and third. And as I was doing so, I was reminded of the Lego series, both the movies and the video games. And as they're stacking the blocks, you just hear And you would think that moving all this block around and digging this dirt, that I would have had all the workout that I needed, but for some reason, I came across this buggy axle and just felt like I needed to do some reps with it. Man, this buggy axle is much heavier than it looks like it'd be. Be a nice little workout for somebody. Get shoulder press. Nice curls. Get some curls in with it. Not that hard for me for curls, but I bet if I do one hand, it'd be challenging. Let's see if I can do one hand. It's about 50, 60 pounds, maybe 50. Get right there, leveled out. Bam, look at that. Bam, let's see if I can do it with the right hand. I'm left-handed, so let's see if the weaker hand. It's not weak. Both strong. There we go, a little bit of lightning going in those veins. And then at this point, I just had more block to move to keep going with this project. And I definitely was beginning to see that it was not going to happen in the time frame that I thought it was going to. So I just had to keep plugging on. So after I finished laying the main back wall for our compost bin system, I next went ahead and started working on one of the corner walls and then the dividers for each of the compost bins. And as I was doing this, Lacie was working in her apothecary garden, transplanting some of her plants, continuing to build it up. Ben and Selah were working on untangling our drip tape that just gotten in this huge ball of mess. And Josiah and Michael were just being really cute, playing with their dump trucks, moving the dirt that I had dug out and just moving it around to different areas that I needed it in. And that's one of my favorite things about homesteading and homesteading together as a family, is just being able to do these different tasks together with your family members side by side with you. Really enjoy it. Hey Mike and Josiah, can you fill up the buckets with some more dirt so I can level these block out?
What?
Tell Michael, say, let's go!
Let's go!
And then a little bit later, I began feeling bites here and there and here and there. And then I'm like, man, what is biting me? What is getting me? And then I'm like, oh no, there's ants. And then I started feeling a little bit more bites inside my pants. And I'm like, oh man, I have ants in my pants. So I ran inside, got those pants off, changed up, came back out, and whew, got right back at it. And I continued to work right up until the end of the day, and then I was like, man, I'm just so tired. I just felt completely out of gas, feeling like I don't think I can do it anymore. And then come to think of it, I laid 200 blocks, and each block weighs 50 pounds each. It's like, no wonder you're so tired. I tried to lay a little bit more since I was right there and I was almost done, but I was like, I'm just gonna have to come back to it, do it another time. Just go do it again in the morning, because I just don't have any more left in the tank. And then the next morning, I got at it, felt refreshed, and then went back and finished the last side wall of the compost bin, and then bang, whoo, knocked that project out. Took a lot longer than I thought, a lot more energy than I thought, but it was done and I was so happy to see it finished. But it wasn't time to rest. I still had more work to do. This was harvest day, so I had a lot of harvesting to do for our CSA customers and our restaurant customers as well. And we had some guests that came to our farm this day, and I was so happy to have some guests come because they were coming to help work on the farm. And our friends Dolan and Kenzie came and visited us from all the way in Kentucky to come help us out and spend some time with us. We actually met them at the Homesteading Life Conference last year, and we really made a good connection with them, and we were super happy to invite them out to come visit us and come work with us for the day. And Dolan and I worked together harvesting salad mix, salad greens, lettuces in the market garden, and his wife Kenzie was working in the wash and pack station with Lacie and Selah, washing up what Dolan and I brought up to the wash and pack station. So it was really nice having them work on the farm, and they did an excellent job. And after they helped harvest, I gave Dolan an opportunity to use the Kelvin cultivator, and he was pretty excited to use it. He did an excellent job flaming this bed for us. And this too was another long and productive and busy day on the farm. But even though it was the end of the day, I was really eager to get back to doing just a couple more things with my compost bins. And thankfully, Dolan was willing to help me out. We had some dirt that I was planning to use to kickstart my compost pile. We took some of that dirt and piled it all into the one mixing pile that we're going to have. And with our composting station, we have 5 different sections, or 5 bins. In the first bin, closest to the main market garden, this is where I'll have my compost garden blend, that soil that will go out into the main market garden. On the second one in, I'll have where we have our nitrogen that we can put nitrogen in to be mixed in our mixing bin, which I don't know if you can see it, it is right here. Take these items from here, put it in the middle with the carbon that will be on the other side. So then you have your 3 station for mixing your compost to make it, because you want to have those ingredients to make some nice quality compost. You need nitrogen and you need carbon to mix in to make a really good compost. And that nitrogen, that chicken poop, that chicken manure goes in to heat up your compost to really help things break down. So I look forward and am eager to working on my compost pile. And also, I got this really neat digging fork from Radius Garden, and I'm super excited and look forward to using this tool. It just looks, I just feel tough just holding this tool. It's just so just make sure you stay tuned for that, because I'm going to be talking about my compost system in some videos to come and show you how I'm turning it, and just really going to look forward to making some really high quality compost. Well, Dolan and Kenzie stayed around, they had dinner with us, and then we sat down with them and chatted about their future plans as homesteaders. Dolan and Kenzie, we really appreciate you guys coming out here, visiting our farm, helping us out on the farm. We were able to get a lot done today. I really appreciate you guys coming to visit out. And for those of you who don't know, they also have been long-time viewers and subscribers of our YouTube channel, and we really appreciate that too. But I do want to ask, just to let our viewers know, what is it that brought you out to come visit us here on our farm?
Well, that's a good question. You know, we always knew that we wanted to do some form of homesteading, whether that be living on a few acres or living on like 5 or 6 acres, or more than that. We're not really sure right now. And we thought about market gardening before, and we just wanted to be able to come out and see what it was like real time, doing the work and seeing what life is like for you guys, you know, and just to be able to spend some time with you guys, because we think you're really cool. And
Fantastic. That makes me feel really, really good. But we harvested a lot of lettuce today, so hopefully I didn't discourage you from growing lettuce because it's just so much.
No, it was good. So I guess it's not too bad. I like it.
There we go.
Yeah.
So she's expressed how much she is interested in doing something homesteading. What about you? Are you really wanting to do this? I know some of you, she's from the city. I grew up in the city with not really any homesteading, farming background. But you're a little bit different. You've had some experiences with various skills and doing different things.
I mean, like, I kind of want to homestead because I like the feeling of feeling self-sufficient. There's just something inside of me that brings me joy out of that, being able to see things grow, be able to provide like for my own family in a way that's not just going to a job and making a paycheck, actually like having that connection there. It's just more visceral, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I like homesteading.
That's super exciting. Do you guys have a time frame in mind of when you think you want to actually start being on your homestead?
Well, right now we're trying to do what we can with like the space that we have. So we're getting our chicks arrive in May.
Exciting.
We are very excited for that. And we're trying to grow just supplemental food here and there while we pay off debt to prepare for that, because we're not exactly sure where that's going to be at right now. So.
And that's great that you're doing that. You're making it a process. You're not just throwing yourself in with a bunch of debt when putting yourself in a position where you wouldn't be able to do some of the things that you may want to do. And at the same time, you're learning and having different experiences, like coming to places like here on our farm to see if you actually may want to do something like that when you actually have your place. So that's a really, really neat idea. And super proud of you guys for doing that. So best wishes to you both on that.
Thank you.
And they're also here sporting their Farm Fit t-shirts. We had such an enjoyable time with Dolan and Kinsey. They really were a big help to us on harvest day. And we also really enjoyed just hanging out and talking with them. Dolan and Kinsey, thank you for coming and visiting us. We had such a blast with you guys. And we wish you the best going forward in your homesteading and family life goals. Well, I hope you found this vlog to be fun and educational. If you did, please share it with some of your friends who may think the same. That's it for now. We'll see you next time, and grow on. Whoa! Oh! Did you wreck? I just saw that. That's crazy. Whoops. Are you okay? You all right?